Hey guys, and welcome back to another Landship Scorpios video. Today on the channel, we're going to be talking about steampunk. Specifically, what is steampunk? Steampunk is a genre best described as Victorian science fiction. That being said, talk to any steampunk about what exactly steampunk is, and you'll be met with blank stares and a lot of noises. Why is that? Well, because steampunk is a lot of things. And today, I'm going to go over some of those steampunk things. It's a lot more than just goggles and top hats. Let's talk a moment about the aesthetic. So how can you tell if something is steampunk by looking at it? Well, steampunk tends to take from the Victorian and Edwardian eras in terms of style, fashion, and general aesthetic. Brownstone houses, ladies in corsets, top hats and bowlers, mustaches and beards, horse-drawn carriages and steam-powered trains, wood paneling, brass, clockwork gears and springs. Consider the fashions of the time in architecture and clothing choices. Consider the technology of the time. Steam power, clockwork, tin-type photography, smoking pipes, and large open machinery. Nothing was built to be smooth and aesthetic. Everything looked practical and useful. However, nothing was built without being a work of art, the details intricate and unique. At the same time, understand the fashions of that era and learn when you can break them. Rip off the sleeves of your coat and shirt. Expose a vest. Have a cravat with a mohawk. Have a wristwatch or a cell phone with your goggles as accessories. Keeping with the theme of Victorian science fiction, it's important to keep in mind you can and should be taking from other time periods and bringing them into the 1800s. A laptop, your sunglasses, cargo pants, even your iPod can all be brought back into the past. Along with bringing the new stuff into the past, you can also be bringing the old stuff into the 1800s. Like armor, or tricorns, or flintlock pistols and swords. All very powerful and all very common in steampunk. So what makes something steampunk? This is incredibly difficult. Since steampunk is primarily in the past, it's difficult to draw up criteria of what makes something guaranteed steampunk. Keeping with our grand dome of Victorian science fiction, it is generally accepted that anything from 1850 to about 1910 with a science fiction twist is steampunk. However, talking to most steampunks, they say you can generally accept eras like the entirety of the 1800s and World War I without furrowing anyone's brow, so that brings it to about 1800 to about 1918. Now, with airship pirates being extremely popular, a large portion of steampunks will argue you should also include the golden age of piracy with science fiction elements. Which would be the years about 1650 to about 1730. I think that's generally considered when the Golden Age was. So that increases our time frame to a solid 1700s to 1918, including such time periods as the Golden Age of piracy, the American Revolution, the 7 Years' War, the American Civil War, the Napoleonic Wars, the Spanish-American War, the Boer War, the French Revolution, the Zulu War, World War I, the Russian Revolution, and the Boxer Rebellion. But now we need to keep in mind a large portion of steampunks include post-apocalyptic as steampunk if it involves subpar technology and Victorian elements. That would bring us to at least the modern day, assuming an apocalypse happens soon. That means we're at about 1700 to about 2018. Now we have a collection of subcultures within steampunk, like dieselpunk, atompunk, decopunk, clockpunk. But wait, what about the dimension hopping and time traveling? Well, thanks to the works of authors like H.G. Wells, isn't that steampunk too? Well, yes. Time travel could bring other elements. That means the timeline is now infinite BC to infinite AD. I didn't even get into Da Vinci Punk or Stone Punk or Cyberpunk. Don't get me started on the use of magical or supernatural entities in steampunk. That's so much. At what point does it stop being steampunk and just becomes retro-futuristic? Or just plain old science fiction? See what I mean? Steampunk is difficult to pin down, and there's very few in the community willing to openly argue with you about what truly is or isn't steampunk. Some choose to split hairs by labeling every possible era with a punk and separating them from each other. However, I do not. If you can defend it, you're a steampunk. My views? I keep with the Victorian science fiction blanket, and I consider it ideas, fashions, or aesthetic of about the time frame of 1800s to the 1920s. But that's just me. And in my videos, that's kind of how I'll end up handling it. What literature is steampunk? If you are looking for steampunk literature, your eyes might not be open. It's been everywhere for 100 years or more. Let's go all the way back to the father of modern steampunk. Well, the fathers of science fiction. The authors, H.G. Wells and Jules Verne, were blazing a trail for steampunk in two very different ways, much before steampunk or science fiction was a thing. H.G. Wells captured the wonder of steampunk and the possibilities. Although not scientifically sound by any means, his works captured the wonder of what a steampunk world would be. The Invisible Man, War of the Worlds, The Time Machine, all stories that explored the fantastical. He took a fantastical concept, like traveling through time, then explored that with human characters and down-to-earth scientists. Jules Verne's take on science fiction and supernatural involved science fact first. He did massive amounts of research into his amazing machines, many of his stories revolving around the wonders of travel. He also explored the fascinating cultures of the world. Journey to the Center of the Earth, Around the World in 80 Days, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. He used reality and history and pushed the boundaries to explore a fantastical distant future today. When these two published their works, it wasn't steampunk. It was science fiction, first of its kind. However, over time, these works are imperative for what steampunk is and has become. Other authors of note are Conan Doyle, famous for the Sherlock Holmes stories. Many steampunks love H.P. Lovecraft. There's more modern ones like Sherry Priest, Scott Westerfeld, Philip Reeve, William Gibson, and Bruce Sterling's The Difference Engine. Oh, also George Mann. I can and will be doing an entire episode on steampunk books and literature. However, this short list might get you to tip your toe in the water. Why is your name weird? Why do you dress up? Steampunks love to dress up or cosplay. However, if you can't tell from my accent, I'm from New England. New Hampshire, actually. In the New England community, steampunks get very into their personas. Steampunk personas are characters in a steampunk world that you take the identity of for events or online networking or writing purposes. You don't need to stay in character. Many people just chose to go by the name or, commit to their backstory. use them as an excuse to dress up, or interact with other steampunks. Now, we're not crazies. I don't outright believe that I'm Lieutenant Nathaniel Flint, but it allows me a doorway to explore experiences and stories I might not have normally. I get dressed up, go to events, I write stories about Flint and not about Flint, and to interact with such groups as the Cracked Goggles and the Citizens of Antwerp and Garrison Works, who many of these pictures are about that I'm showing off. Some people dive into their characters and make it their entire convention, like such people as Account Name Slick Brass and the pirate crew of the Dead Rabbit. They are over the top, they love their characters, and they are role-playing deep at conventions. They get completely consumed, and they're extremely entertaining, but also they know a lot about those characters that they're embodying by being in them 24/7. Others use it merely as a means to dress up, or they use it as an alias, like the Order of the Badger, or myself. Just dressing up and working on the design of your costume and art pieces they've worked on, that's enough for them. I will be making a video on Steampunk Personas separately down the road. In the meantime, try to find one that fits you, your costume or your purpose. No pressure though, you don't want one, there's nothing holding you to it. Where can I go to learn more about steampunk? Well, the best answer for this is your local community or an event. That's basically it. There's nothing like going to a steampunk convention, seeing the people's costumes and interacting with fellow like-minded people. I suggest finding your local community on Facebook, or the steampunkempire.com, or brassgoggles.com. Are any of those still around? Facebook.com. Facebook. Books and YouTube videos are a great way to learn more about steampunk. Unfortunately, it just doesn't touch being there, seeing the people, talking to the people, looking at their costumes. That's the best way to get into steampunk. But not everyone can afford to make the long drive or pay the price to go to a convention, or the hotel fee for staying in a hotel after driving 3, 4, 5 hours to go to some of these steampunk events. But I can tell you something, there's nothing better than it. If you don't have a local group, try making one. That's what I did. Which, there'll be more videos down the line of these sort of things. But I really 100% stand by. That is the best way to get into steampunk. Reading and writing a lot is a big part of the steampunk genre. It's got its start in literature, and I think it thrives through literature. Literature is one of its best things. But it is an artist community. There are many different ways to get involved. Metalworking, costuming, crafting, sewing, is so many different ways to show off and thrive in the steampunk genre. However, if you are looking to delve further into steampunk, there are plenty of video games, movies, anime, and TV shows that can be helpful in letting you get into the steampunk genre. Where's a great place to learn more? Right here on my channel. I'll be covering more steampunk things, from books to TV shows to other YouTube channels. I'll be covering a lot more right here on my channel. It's been a little slow going, but I'm definitely plan on covering more. I really do plan to cover everything from steampunk events to costuming to writing to steampunk personas, etc. I really do think a great part of this channel will end up being about my passion in the steampunk community, and just kind of showcasing the community around me. If you would like to know more about steampunk right now, I do have some more videos up on my channel. I do talk about steampunk games and other such things. But if you don't got your fix, there's plenty of channels to check out. Again, I'll be doing a video on steampunk YouTube channels, but there are many different steampunk YouTubers. You can start off by checking out my friends over at the Citizens of Antwerp. Their YouTube channel has several different videos of Antiford on Air. A lot of their early ones actually delve into a lot of the same stuff that I'll be covering on my channel, where talking about the beginnings of YouTube and everything. I'll actually be making a lot of references to that channel because they're a way better crafting than I am, and they have a lot more experience in costuming and things, which when I talk about those videos and those aspects, I'll be referencing a lot of their content. I would also suggest on finding your local community on Facebook. It sounds funny, but you really should. If you're in the New England area, there's many great things for you. There is the New England Steampunk Facebook group. There's the New England Steampunk Meetup group. Both groups are large and very full and very active, and they'll help you know what events are in the area and who the steampunks are and who the steampunks are in your specific area. I would also look for things like even more localized groups than that. I know that we have a New Hampshire Steampunks Facebook group, which tries to do all things New Hampshire and facilitate more communication between New Hampshire steampunks, as well as any events in New Hampshire or that affect New Hampshire. I also know that there is like a Maine steampunk group, there's the Massachusetts steampunk group, there's like, I'm sure there's a Connecticut steampunk group, there's the online writing community, Citizens of Antiford, there's the large Red Fork Empire, who is a artist community, very supportive and very big in steampunk. I know that there's a lot of groups out west that I'm not as familiar with, but the steampunk is also very powerful out west, and it's all over the world. There's big communities in England, in Germany. There's a big community in Australia I absolutely would love to be a part of. And the fashion side of things catch on in Japan, in France, in some areas of the Middle East. Not so much as you would think, but they definitely do have a small community. So it's fantastic. Definitely look into it. If you can't find it, be the one to make it and people will come. The important thing is making sure that you're Googleable. With that, that's going to be the end of this small intro video. I'm going to be covering most of these topics more in depth as time goes on. But this is basically just it, the intro to steampunk on my channel. If you do like my channel, you want to see more steampunk content, do feel free to subscribe. I do also have a lot of gaming content with steampunk board games, as Rivet Wars is a big part of this channel for those of you who already know, or those of you who are new to the channel. So you will see a lot of Rivet Wars videos. It's a steampunk World War I board game, so you will be seeing a lot of videos from that. I also do some gaming. I will be getting into some steampunk video games and things, and showing some videos or doing Let's Plays. So that will also be on this channel. If you would like to see some of the events that I'm talking about, I have gone to countless events that I make videos for. And, well, not countless, they're very countable. YouTube makes that possible. But I have several steampunk events like Watch City in Waltham, Mass, which was fantastic. It's a fantastic thing to go to. Go check out those videos. Look at the things that I've talked about as far as aesthetic and things. It's definitely highlighted in those videos and is a great visual aid to everything that we've witnessed. With that, I also have a Facebook group. It's facebook.com/Landship. On my Facebook, I'm doing a lot of things with Rivet Wars, with video games, but just steampunk content and what events I'm going to. So definitely feel free to check those out. If you have any comments on this video, what is steampunk to you? Where's your era of it? You know, all these hard to answer questions, what are your answers for them? Let us know in the comments, and let's have a civilized discussion about it. Otherwise, I think that's it for this video, and I hope you guys had fun, and I hope I'll see you next time. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, not all, but a lot of the images that I used today in today's video were from The Artisan Works. Artisan Works is run by GW, who is a very old friend of mine. I met him very early in my steampunk career, and I've just known him ever since. He's a fantastic individual. He's a photographer, and he does a lot of photography. There's a lot more on his Facebook page, Artisan Works. But he also heads up the free convention repair service. I'm not sure how accurate that is at the time of this video, but he did it a lot at a lot of the events that I've seen. He donates his time to ensure that everybody is looking 100% and that those last minute or during the convention mishaps don't ruin your time at the convention. He sacrificed countless hours fixing props, fixing costumes, doing patchwork. It's phenomenal. And his gremlins, who are his helpers at the Artisan Work, have also sacrificed countless hours for this, not asked to by conventions, just of their own accord. And it is absolutely amazing. If you have time, even if you haven't subscribed to me or liked my page, give them love. They're fantastic. Fantastic photographs. Anyone who's ever been photographed by GW knows that he's very understanding, and he can just make you look your best, even if you're not the highlight of the con. He took this photo of me. Wait a minute. And this photo of me. I love these photos. They've been my profile picture for a while, and I don't take a lot of good photos. For those of you who have taken good photos of me know that I love it when a good photo comes from me. You've probably seen so many photos. They're like the only good ones of me. So I just absolutely adore it. So please go show him some love. If you see him at a convention, let him know exactly how much you mean to him. Vice versa. Exactly how much he means to you. Even if it's nothing, let him know that you appreciate everything that he does with the convention repair service, with the New England Steampunk meetups, and with just his photography, which is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Artisan Works, and thank you, GW Smith, for everything that you do.